Hello, wonderful people of God. I believe that you have been so blessed by our messages on rewards. I spoke to you about reward of service, trusting God, diligently seeking. There are a lot of rewards that I've shared with you. But this time, I want to also bring um, into the table another reward, or let me say another mystery about patience. Patience. And it is something that I believe that if we get to know and understand the subject of patience, it will really help us and it will transform our walk with God. Now, understand that everyone that follows God will know he must walk in patience because God himself deals with patience. So if we are working with him, then he requires that we also work patiently with him. The depth height of God that he can only reveal to us when we exercise patience in knowing him. Without patience, we may know or we may work with God but not understanding him. Now let's look at a scripture that I saw which will really bless your life as well. Hebrews chapter 6 verse 15. And so after he had patiently endured, he obtained the promise. So this was talking about Abraham, that the Bible said that after he had patiently endured, he obtained the promise. So that means that one thing that brought into Abraham whatever that he was expecting from God was patience. Now understand that. Now when you read the book of Genesis chapter 15, God revealed his plan to Abraham. Genesis chapter 16, we saw that Sarah came and Sarah told Abraham that I am giving my servant Hagar to you. Now understand that the fact that God doesn't ignore doesn't mean it's part of his plan anywhere. God never spoke about it. God was okay. He never confronted Abraham that Abraham, whatever that you did, but God never said anything. And the reason why Sarah did that was because of impatience. Because even though God has appeared to Abraham, told him that Abraham, I will give you a heir, I will give you a son. But because of impatience, Sarah decided to bring another lady to Abraham. Now understand that every time you cannot wait for Isaac, you will give birth to Ishmael. Every time you cannot wait for Isaac, you will give birth to what will fight Isaac when he comes. Sarah was impatient. So Ishmael came by Sarah, whilst Isaac came by God. So Genesis chapter 16, Sarah gave Abraham, then they produced Ishmael because Sarah was impatient. And when Ishmael came, you can now read the descendants of Ishmael and you really understand the whole thing about, or the mystery about Ishmael, because Sarah was impatient. Now, impatience can let us bring something which is not part of God's agenda. So the fact that God is mute or God is quiet doesn't mean that he supports everything that you are doing. So there are so many things that we have brought into ourselves because of impatience. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there are many people that because of the world's agenda, because of the world system, the ideology, everything that the world is producing now, so we are so fast of producing something. The fact that you pray, and answers are not coming does not mean that God has forgotten about you. The fact that you pray and it's not coming does not mean that God has neglected you. God deals with patience because there are some things that if God gives to you now, it might kill you. So sometimes God have to allow certain things to pass through. God have to allow you to be prepared. God have to allow you to actually be so grounded before he can give you certain things in life. So the fact that it is not coming does not mean that God has forsaken you or God has neglected you. No. Understand that God deals with patience. Everything that God does is patience. He knows what he's doing. So allow him to do whatever that he wants to do in your life. And please, the next episode, I will tell you why many people are impatient. And this message will bless your life forever. So stay tuned with us and you'll be so blessed. God bless you. See you. Bye-bye.